In life, there are so many things that we can choose to do with our money. We can buy things that save us time and enrich our life, or we can just buy stuff that's a huge waste of money.
Saddam Hussein rookie card!
For example, some of the worst purchases I've ever made are things that I don't need at all. For example, a new phone when an old phone would simply suffice, or Dogecoin because I thought it would go to $1, or worst of all, a $22 smoothie from Erewhon. I had to try it just once, but boy, it was a waste of money. However, there are some things I spent money on that absolutely enriched my life for the better and also improved my quality of life. So without further ado, this is that entire list of things, starting with my gaming PC. When people find out I'm a gamer, they're usually super stoked to hear about it, or they just think I'm a freaking loser who has nothing better to do with their time. But in terms of how it enriches my life, gaming has always been a hobby of mine, especially since I was a kid, and these days I find myself playing online video games like Diablo 4, and in the past I used to play World of Warcraft and League of Legends.
No.
Now, this particular gaming PC was not very cheap at all. In fact, it cost over $4,000 at the time, and this was a few years ago, and it's mostly due to the GeForce 3090 that's included within it. When it comes to purchases that create joy and excitement in your life, I think that spending money on a hobby that you enjoy is ultimately a good use of money. It doesn't have to be on gaming like what I spend my money on, but it could be on scuba diving, climbing rocks, perhaps collecting something, etc., whatever your heart desires. Over time though, what's really funny is I actually think that my purchase on my gaming PC has saved me more money in the long run, especially on a Friday night when I'm thinking about maybe I could go watch a movie or perhaps get some drinks with some friends. Instead, if I play video games, I don't really have to spend that money going out. And let me be clear, sometimes I do want to spend my Friday nights that way. In addition, I use my PC for apps like Excel and Photoshop, which just generally suck on a Mac. Now, having a high quality PC means that I don't have to upgrade it as often because the specs are still pretty good, and I still think that's a really good trait of any enriching purchase. And that brings me to the next item on our list today, which is basically, it's not a single item, but it's rather a category of items, which are goods that are of higher quality. In general, high quality goods are going to last you a lot longer than lower quality goods, and hopefully you don't have to keep buying them over and over. An example of a purchase that you might not want to cheap out on is something like a mattress. I'd rather have a high quality mattress because we're going to be spending a third of our life on this thing. You might as well pick one that's really comfortable and going to leave you refreshed whenever you wake up. I know that in college I had a pretty bad mattress, and more often than not, I would wake up with back pain. So ever since I've been able to afford a pretty good mattress, I've actually sprung for that decision. And yes, you can see what I did there. That was a pun. Other high quality items could include things like your bed sheets, a really nice winter coat, or perhaps a good pair of running shoes. Ideally, they're good for your body and you don't have to replace them all the damn time. Now, one brand I love in particular, not because I'm just a San Francisco tech bro, but because of their warranty, is the brand Patagonia. They have a lifetime warranty on their products, so if ever one of your products gets damaged or perhaps there's a hole in it, they just tend to repair it for free, or they try to replace it entirely. Since they're a brand focused on sustainability, they would prefer if you just bought one jacket and that was it for the rest of your life. Of course, we know that's not always the case. There's going to always be those people that want multiple different styles of Patagonias, but the principle that I'm trying to get across is that one really high quality item is going to be worth way more than a bunch of lower quality items. By the way, if you like really high quality stuff, you want to make sure to subscribe to this channel and also check out my free newsletter Hump Days down below. I know that a lot of you guys aren't subscribed to this channel, which is a little bit bothersome to me, but it doesn't really take that long to subscribe, and plus you're going to get more high quality content from me if you do so. Now, another item that saves me a ton of money but has also enriched my life many times over, many lifetimes over in fact, is my Mr. Coffee coffee machine. Depending on what type of coffee you like or perhaps beverage you like, you could spring for a much nicer machine. I know a lot of people that have the Breville espresso machines. That's where you can tamp down your own espresso or your coffee beans, make your own lattes, and pretend that you're a barista. You can definitely do that. For me personally, I love burnt drip coffee. That sounds a little bit weird, but I will explain it in a second. But a lot of you guys seem to think that I'm a coffee snob and I really enjoy the single origin blends that are out there, but trust me, I don't enjoy those at all. I grew up going to diners with my dad, and oftentimes a diner will have a type of coffee that I really enjoy, which is the coffee that sits in that like clear carafe that's kind of been sitting on the burner for a little bit too long. That's what I really like. It almost tastes like hot water infused with a little bit of coffee flavor, that's my favorite type of coffee. So that's how I like to take my coffee. I like to recreate it with my Mr. Coffee coffee machine. I put some Peet's ground coffee in there, and then once I make it, I just add a splash of milk, and boom, I have my favorite coffee. I don't even like going out to buy coffee because I think it actually tastes worse than the coffee that I make at home. So the Mr. Coffee coffee maker has definitely been a coffee machine that has enriched my life for the better. The next purchase that has absolutely enriched my life is having the luxury to afford different types of services. So what do I mean by that? For example, a cleaning person every 2 to 3 weeks would be a service-based purchase that I find valuable. I think that having a regular cleaning person can dramatically enhance your quality of life. However, if you can't afford that, which I know that it can get quite expensive, then a deep clean every quarter or maybe every half year is more your speed. I know that throughout my daily life, places tend to get pretty dirty. For example, the kitchen, the bathroom, and little nooks and crannies across my apartment. I also think that the older you get, the more that you realize that there are these little spots and specks everywhere, and you just kind of want that taken care of. In terms of productivity, I don't know if you guys have noticed this, but by having a clean space for my desk, I actually find that my mind is a lot more clear and I'm able to do a lot more work. Now, another service that I've been using this year in particular is actually a wash and fold laundry service, and that's because when I moved into this apartment, they didn't have a laundry room at all. So when I moved, a big priority of mine was to find a wash and fold place with reasonable prices, and these days I pay about $20 per load, and each load is about 10 pounds. So roughly every month, I'm going to be adding about $80 to $100 to my monthly expenses, and while that is objectively expensive, and it is expensive, it actually saves me time because I don't have to go to the laundromat to do that. I personally think that my time is better spent working and hopefully making up that difference in cash that I'm spending on the wash and fold. And also, I don't really like doing laundry, so having them fold it for me is actually a really nice luxury to have as well. Of course, if my building did have laundry and a laundry machine, I'd probably just do it at home because it's a lot more convenient that way. Another service that my friends with kids often rave about is part-time childcare, which has allowed them to buy some of their time back. Now, I personally don't have kids yet, so I can't quite comment, but if you do have kids, you might want to let us know down below if you do think it's worth the money to get childcare. The next item that has enriched my life personally a lot has been this right here. It's my large computer monitor, as you can see. And if you're working from home and you don't have a large monitor and you maybe just work from your laptop, I definitely question if you're operating at your max potential. Having a large monitor allows you to open many different windows at a time, thereby increasing your productivity by a lot. Famously, Bill Gates had a triple monitor setup, and I was able to actually find some low resolution pictures of him right here. As you can see, there are definitely 3 monitors. According to an article from Lifehacker in 2009, Bill Gates would have this setup. So quote, he would keep his Outlook 2007 inbox open on the screen on the left so that he could see new messages as they came in. He usually had the message or document that he was currently reading or writing in the center screen, and the screen on the right is where he had room to open up a browser or look at a document that someone had sent him via email. And while you don't need a triple monitor setup like Bill Gates, I found that just having a large monitor allows you to put at least 2 windows up so that on one window you can do some research, and then on the other window you can do another task at the same time. When it comes to having a large monitor, I think the things that you should look for are definitely a high refresh rate, a 4K display, and hopefully a diagonal that's bigger than 27 inches. The one thing you want to be careful of though is actually taking that idea to an extreme. So I have some friends who got a 40-inch monitor, for example, and then their neck started to hurt because they kept having to pivot their neck left and right to even look at the stuff on their big ass screen. I think the best screen sizes are between 27 and 32 inches in diagonal. I think that gives you a really good field of view and allows you to stay productive. Now, when you aren't staring at your screen like I am and getting an LCD tan, I think the next purchase that has absolutely enriched my life the most is going to go get a real UV tan by taking a well-deserved vacation. There are so many health benefits in taking a real vacation, especially us in the United States. We don't get a lot of time off and we're generally a little bit overworked. Last year, for example, I had the intention of taking time off, so I went to Hawaii at the end of January in 2023. While I did have a good time, I ended up actually checking my email quite a lot, and actually I did some content work while I was there. So what actually ended up happening was when I returned from Hawaii after that trip in January, I actually still didn't feel like I completely disconnected, and I still felt really plugged in. This year, I'm hoping to take at least 1 week off completely disconnected from the world, and that way I can kind of reset and rewire my brain. And studies have actually shown that taking time away from your devices and being plugged in actually have a lot of physical and mental benefits. I'm gonna leave some of those benefits up on the screen right now so you can pause and read through them, but also I would like to know where you guys think think that I should go on my vacation? Let us know. Now, if you find yourself being a workaholic or always completely connected to the internet, what you can do is purposely book a trip where there is no cell phone service or even Wi-Fi. But you wanna make sure you go with a family member or a buddy, just because, you know, safety reasons. You don't wanna just be lost out there and all of a sudden nobody can find you. The next purchase that has totally enriched my life is not having a car payment anymore, so paying off my car. This has been such a weight lifted off of my shoulders, and if you're ever in the position to pay off your car, I would strongly recommend it.
It's Brittany, bitch, and I'm back.
Now, if you aren't in that position, at least try to get your transportation costs to a reasonable level, so somewhere around $300 or $400 a month. With the average new car payment in America being $726 per month, if you're able to have a low monthly transportation cost, it's gonna be a really solid financial choice. Now, some people will argue that if you pay off your car early, it might not actually be the best mathematically sound financial decision that you can make. For example, if you have $30,000 in savings and a $10,000 car loan left at a 2.5% interest rate, it may not make mathematical sense for you to basically pay that off. That's because the 2.5% interest rate is not that high, and you could earn more money in a high yield savings account, probably earning you 4.5%, and therefore you could take that difference in interest and put it towards your car payments. Another situation in which you may not want to pay your car off too early is that if your car loan makes up a large percentage of your entire net worth. So if you had $50,000 to your name and you owed $40,000 on a car, technically you have enough money to pay off that car in full and still have $10,000 left over. But that might not make the best financial sense, because maybe $10,000 isn't enough for you to live off of, and perhaps for emergencies and stuff like that, you might want to have more of a buffer. Anyways, these are some of the purchases that have absolutely enriched my life. Let me know if you have any purchases that have enriched your life down below. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to check out my next video on the 10 purchases under $200 that have saved me time and money. I think you would really enjoy that. I'm happy that you guys are here, and I will see you guys in that video or the next video. Don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you later. Peace.